Hey y'all, welcome in. So today's little beginner tip is one of those habits that feels small, but it'll save you so many headaches later on. Counting your stitches at the end of your row. At least as often as you can. If you can't count your stitches because you can't really tell what's a stitch, what's not a stitch, y'all, little trick I like to use your stitch markers. I put it every 10. That helps me to keep track because then I just have to count 10, 20, 30, so on to know, is my chain long enough yet? It really does help, you guys. It's the easiest way to keep your project on track without the surprises of, oops, didn't do it right. When you're learning stitches, they kind of like to wander. They'll disappear, they multiply, they hide, they sneak in where they don't even belong. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just part of the learning curve. Counting your stitches helps you to catch those little wanderers before they turn into a big problem rows later. And trust me, they will if you're not counting your stitches. You don't have to count perfectly necessarily, right? You don't have to count every single row. Every few rows is perfectly fine. In the beginning, every row does help, but I also know who wants to do that? Nobody. Since when did math need to play a part in crochet? Well, it does. I'm sorry, it does. Keeping count of your stitches helps to keep your edges straight. Your rows will be even. The project will look so much better. If y'all haven't looked and haven't seen what not straight edges looks like, I have a video here on YouTube. I'll try to link it up top for you. My first project, it wasn't pretty. And you know, the reason why? My edges were wonky as heck. So, count your stitches. If you're one of those people like me who can't be bothered to count your stitches as you go, use your stitch markers. Your stitch markers, it doesn't matter if you have, actual stitch markers or if you're using little bits of other colored yarn that'll stand out against your yarn that you're actually working with, or maybe you're using bobby pins or just whatever. Use stitch markers of some sort to mark your stitches every so often so that you know how many stitches that you've done at that point. If counting feels overwhelming like that, use your fingers. Touch each stitch as you count, because that'll help in your brain to keep track of the right number. It'll also help you, believe it or not, it also helps you learn what the stitch looks like. Because when you're beginning, you really truly have no idea what part of that is what part of the stitch. Looking at your stitches, feeling your stitches, understanding how that they are made will help you in the long term. So, try to do that, okay? Sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes just counting out loud will help me to keep track of my stitches. I tend to use that version of counting when my kiddo walks into the room while I'm trying to count my chains. And I'll just count out loud. 27, 28, 29, 30. He knows if mom's counting like that, zip the lip and walk back out of the room because mom's busy. And honestly, in my brain, it works because it keeps me remembering what number I'm on. It also tells him, not now, Mom's busy. Counting your stitches is one of those habits that builds confidence. It helps you feel in control of your project, and it keeps you from having to rip out rows later on. It's a tiny bit of effort, and it saves a whole lot of frustration later on. Thank you for being here with me again today. I'll see y'all tomorrow on the next one. Be you, always. Bye, y'all.